we require our Visa franchise clients have at least an immigration attorney that's engaged, as well as a franchise attorney. And we strongly recommend also an attorney that does the real estate component. So Greenberg Darg, you can do everything in-house with them. It makes it a little easier. So it's not a bunch of different law firms that are going back and forth. As I mentioned, we started the business 7 years ago with my brother. We're here to save you time and money. So if you're a high net worth investor, if you make significant income, I'd say over $300,000 a year, it's probably not going to be worth your time browsing through thousands of franchise options or hundreds of thousands of businesses for sale. We can save you significant time, as well as de-risk your investment, looking at all different factors to see if the business is going to be successful, if it has a good potential to be successful, including the track record of the business, litigation against the franchisor, prior bankruptcies. We look at all that. We go through a lot of publicly available information on franchises, including through the franchise disclosure document, SBA loan default rates. We have a ton of data. So we've also launched another platform between the two companies. We have about 35 employees that mostly are doing data and helping with the product and development. We have a very, very small sales team, as most of our clients are coming to us organically through our website or through referrals. We haven't had 8,000 petitions like Kate and her colleagues have had at GT, but we've had over 500 clients in the past 7 years. We've reviewed over 7,000 businesses, 95% plus visa approval rate. We've never had a visa denied where the client tried twice. So there might be times where they go in for the E2 visa interview and the consulate officer wants additional information, or there might be back and forth and a request for further evidence with the EB-5 petition. But we've never had a final denial of a visa over the last 7 years. Our clients have created 2,500 plus jobs across the United States. We speak 7 languages. I speak 4 languages, Spanish, Portuguese, and some French, as well as a little bit of English. And of these 7,000 or so businesses, only 2% pass our vetting process or due diligence. We don't show like the red list of all the businesses that don't pass their due diligence. I think we would have just too many haters and trolls on our website if we did that. As well as, it might just not be a good fit for foreign nationals, but it could be a good fit for American investors. And we help clients with whatever investor visa category, the E2 and or the EB-5 that you determine fits best with Kate. We have a service dedicated to those seeking an EB-5 direct investment, particularly in a franchise. So again, we've looked at 7,000 plus concepts. We have a directory of 5,500. Those are businesses that have received financing through the SBA loan program over the last 5 years. And we cap it at 10 clients per month right now, given it's a white glove service. We're with you every step of the way. We are basically working as your advisor with a client manager, an assistant, and myself, providing executive support weekly until you invest in the business and apply for the EB-5 and get the business open. We do offer a significant discount for clients that work together with Greenberg Darg. If you're watching this webinar, we can have a consultation to review how we can help you. But compared to the advertised price of $45,000, we can offer a pretty significant discount for those that are seeking the E2 and or the EB-5. So I had mentioned the platform, and we realized we were seeing a ton of data on franchising that wasn't readily available, and we started publishing it. And right now, Vetted Biz gets about 60,000 visitors, mostly from the US, but also across the globe, that are seeking information on franchises. And this could be franchises in children's programs, cleaning, maintenance, food, healthcare, education. Focus on our conversation right now is for EB-5 direct. So food should work. It's not my favorite industry. The profit margins tend to be pretty low. Healthcare, it's a little more complex, but high profit margins, big impact in your community, as well as education programs. So on the education side, it's a growing industry in the United States. The best options are going to tend to be on the preschool space. We also have one that's pseudo healthcare, where it's helping kids on the spectrum of autism. But if it's going to be after school tutoring, or think about businesses like Huntington Learning Center, those are mostly part-time jobs, and they're not going to be a good fit for the EB-5. You're going to really want to look at a preschool. So using an example, the Goddard School, 500 locations. They were founded 20 years ago. If you're able to open up this preschool, which caters to kids from 6 weeks to 10 years, the investment amount, it's not going to hit the 800,000 level. So we have to work with Kate to see how we can get to 800,000 or 1,050,000. And one of the ways is buying the real estate. So LoopNet's a site where it's basically like Zillow.com, but for commercial real estate, where you can at least get an idea of what's available, if it's going to be ground up construction or buying an existing office space. And then you work with a local real estate broker, and we can connect you with one to find the ideal real estate or land to develop for a preschool or whatever franchise. So there are many franchises that will generate 10 plus jobs, especially over, a 2-year time horizon, and even scale up to 20 plus jobs. But the key is going to be, how do we get to the 800K level, or how do we clear 1,050,000? And with that, real estate can be a component where you could own 100% of the property, just invest in cash, or you could potentially lever up and get a loan to develop the property, or to have a bigger office space or a bigger facility for whatever type of business you're operating. So like this would be an example of a business, an office building, that's for sale at 665K, where you'd have 6 private offices. So there's a lot of different types of businesses that could run out of these premises, and you could have your 10 plus employees principally based out of that location, and then going in the field to visit clients. I had mentioned education, healthcare. Another one that we had an attendee today mention was real estate. So we've had clients at Visa Franchise invest in 5 different real estate property management franchises, as well as other real estate related businesses over the last 7 years. One of them is IPG Florida, where you could own 10, 15 vacation rental property management contracts for, say, an E2 visa, investing $200,000 to $300,000 to buy existing contracts, or investing more like $800,000 and transitioning some of those 1099 contractors over to W2 employees. So say you had 6 cleaning staff maids that were contractors, you could transition them to be employees, and then you bring in the pool maintenance guy to be an employee, and then you get to 11. This is the type of business that is well set up for the EB-5, and you're going to have significantly more contracts. So where maybe 10 to 15 properties under management might have worked for the E2, to really justify the investment amount together with the jobs created, you have to probably invest right around 800,000, if not more, for this business to be eligible for the EB-5. And there's also the option to invest more cash, where you can buy the properties outright, and having a portfolio of 50 vacation rental contracts that you're managing, and maybe you own outright 3 or 4 or 5 of those locations. IPG, we always look, what's the risk of the franchise? I always like to see how many units they've closed and how many they've opened. So we can see this business has been around 20 years now. Over the last 5 years, they've closed, from 2016 to the end of 2020, they've closed 1 location. So that's a good metric that we like to see. We have all different other metrics that we review, the for sale rate, failure rate. We have that all on our website, Vetted Biz, as well as if you're a subscriber, you can download the franchise disclosure document directly from the website, and you can see what, for 59% of franchises, they disclose the revenue figures, as well as some of those franchises will also disclose the profit margins. But you can see for full-time franchisees that are working day-to-day in the business, average gross revenue was about the same in 2019 and 2020 for IPG. About $260,000, $270,000. And for this type of industry, if you're working day to day in the business, you could expect a profit margin 25 to 35% on that revenue. It's going to be less income if you're not working day to day in a vacation rental property management business or whatever service business, the profit margin would go down. So that would be a business that's eligible for the E2 as well as the EB-5 that you can transition in and be in the process of investing to that $800,000 mark and potentially transfer over to the EB-5 visa. Other ones are in the healthcare space. So here's a list of healthcare franchises, and many of them were founded in the 90s. I always like to see longevity. We get a lot of emails about bogus franchises and businesses trying to get investors. And I always ask, when were you founded? How many locations do you have? Are your locations net flow cash positive? And usually I don't get responses back after a few of those questions. So I like to see a year in the 90s, 2000s, not just founded 2 years ago. I want to see some longevity in the brand and that they've proven themselves to de-risk your investment, as well as the unit count's important. And if they just have 10 locations, why do they just have 10 locations? Or were they just more focused on their corporate locations? Why aren't they at 100? Those are all questions that you need to ask. But here you can see all different types, mostly home care businesses where they're very staff heavy. And the investment might just be, not even 150K, 200K, but over a 3-year period, you're going to spend thousands of dollars on the staff. So that could potentially be structured to count towards the EB-5 investment. And we could look at also investing in the commercial real estate where you're going to be doing the training and where the executives are going to sit and the home caregivers are going to be using as their principal office while they're not out in the field. So healthcare, very strong profit margins, low failure rate. I had mentioned another education / healthcare business, Success on the Spectrum, where we've had a couple clients invest in. And this needs to be updated with the franchise disclosure document from 2022. But now they have over 10 locations. They started offering franchise in 2018, and they were founded in 2015. The unit level economics are pretty strong, and you can see that in the item 19 of their FDD. But the corporate locations are averaging well over $1 million in sales. And it's in a business that has pretty high profit margins. So 25% isn't uncommon for this type of business. Really anything, or I shouldn't say anything healthcare related, but a lot of the healthcare related franchises are in that 20 to 30% range, even higher, depending on how many hours the owner is working in the business and how their organization looks like. So there's a lot of opportunities with Vetted Biz. You can start for free. It's like, it's not going to cost you anything. You can scale one up, which you get access behind the paywall. So you can download the franchise disclosure documents, see the failure metrics, comparables across industry. But if you want us to really get involved and be with you every step of the way, as well as work alongside Kate and her team, then you would have to engage Visa Franchise to be your advisor, do a proper search. And with that, we're with you every step of the way, again, until that business is open.
Patrick, I think one question that I get a lot from clients is, this is my business overseas. I want to come here and do a franchise because I don't think this business will translate to the US, but I know nothing about these franchises. How am I going to be involved in them? Are there options for me to take a more passive role? What's my day-to-day obligation going to look like?
Definitely. So it's going to vary depending on the franchise opportunity, where you have the majority of franchises, they're basically lending you a business model that you have the brand, technology, and the rights to for a 10-year period. And you can continue to renew that contract if you'd like. But most of the time, they want you to be very involved, at least the first 18, 24 months. We're talking working 30, 50 hours a week to really get the business off the ground and then set the culture and train the management team. And then after that period, you could work substantially less time, like 5 to 10 hours a week. Once you opened up past break even and are making over 10K a month from the business, you could then put in a day-to-day manager. There are opportunities though, that if you're not able to work 30 to 50 hours a week, that the franchisor themselves can have an agreement with you where they basically provide operational support and they're there with you day to day. And you as the EB-5 or E2 visa investor is more focused on the strategy, checking the financials, and less on the day-to-day tasks for the business.
What kind of franchises do you think, just so people get an idea, would fit into that second model?
Yeah, so the operational support businesses, ideally where there's high margin. So depending on the real estate side, for real estate related services, tend to be pretty high margin where there's enough, especially if you're buying an existing portfolio of properties, which is possible, existing portfolio of contracts where there is enough margin right away for a day-to-day manager, as well as traditional food and beverage. We have an adult daycare franchise that's been around 20 plus years where the franchisor can be very involved and manage the day-to-day affairs on behalf of the investor, and then have monthly, if not more frequent, meetings to review the financials and ongoing strategy of the business.
Excellent. And then, we've worked on a lot of mutual clients together. And as the question asked before, and as we have seen, people come for an E2, then they decide they want to stay permanently and do the EB-5. And we're happy to structure that for them. But have you seen more franchises in a certain area popular for this from others?
Yeah, no, we were chatting a little bit before we started the webinar, but definitely Florida has been a hotbed for our clients. And then after that, Texas and the southern states, the Carolinas have been popular options. And really the sweet spot for clients that are looking to go, well, even go with the E2 or EB-5, that generally going to be franchise systems that have less locations. Because if the franchisor, like a McDonald's, has 10,000 locations in the United States, they want someone that already has US restaurant experience, already has a green card, and can invest like 5 million to open up multiple locations. So that's a big factor. We have that list of 5,500 franchises, but it takes a lot of back and forth when we're evaluating the businesses, as it's super unique where if there's 10 clients, maybe 2 of them are investing in the same business and the other 8 are all invested in different franchise concepts in different cities.